Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of my Paradox Gothic mega campaign. So I'm starting to record this second episode before I've edited the first one, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to edit out, but it definitely needs a lot of editing, so it'll be a little bit shorter than the runtime. And I don't know what I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to have edited out, so at the risk of repeating myself, I'm just going to do a little bit of a recap. So I am playing as the Gothic tribal group of Guthonia in Imperator, Rome. This was inspired a little bit by looking into some of my connections, my genetic similarities to ancient DNA samples, and seeing that I had a lot of matches to people that had been, who had died and been buried at some point in the Iron Age in Pannonia, in this kind of region here. And as I looked into it, I mean, some of them were Araviscian area kind of stuff, like Illyrian bloodlines, or they matched Illyrian, what was thought to be an Illyrian genotype the best, and then there were Celtic bloodlines, Celtic matches, but a lot of them were Gothic. And it's interesting to my grandfather was actually born somewhere right about here, wherever Lvov is on this map, and it seems that I had a pretty good match to putatively Gothic ancient burials from this whole region. So it inspired me to say, okay, well, if I've been meaning to do an Imperator Rome mega campaign for a long time, I've started several and never get through with it. So I thought, okay, I'll do the Goths and move them somewhere. And I started the campaign the first time without all these extra not DLC, what's the term for it, but mods installed. But this campaign I am running the Invictus mod, and which gives a bunch of cultures, but including Gothic tribes, their own mission tree, a unique mission tree. And then it was coupled, I'm doing it with an extended timeline and another mod that is it creates a kind of a crisis in the 3rd century AD. So right now we're still in 259 BC. You can see I've grown my tribal nation a little bit here. If you look at the mission trees, I did parts of the basic tribal mission tree that comes with base Imperator, but then I didn't finish all of it. I just kind of did some of the pieces I wanted to, and then I kind of started doing missions from this tree, and I've done most of the ones that I intend on doing here. I had trouble getting this one to work for some reason, even though I was importing Amber to a nation that used to exist right here, which I absorbed, which I thought would have satisfied the requirements. But anyway, regardless, I went down this path because what I really want to do is migrate my Gothic tribe to somewhere else. And I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to go to the Alps, even though going to Black Sea and going to kind of where the Gepids had their kingdom out here would be kind of a cool story. I've never been anywhere out here, so I don't have a good mental image of what it's like. I kind of like the idea of going over to the Alps. I've been to the Eastern Alps a few times, and I think it's just a really cool area. So if we look to the Alps, the idea is I can go, and I've already, because of this stage here, I've got claims on them. I can go and try to conquer the provinces of Noricum and Euristia, which are, if I go to the province map, in here. This is, that's Euristia, this is Noricum. And then I think the other two provinces it wants me to take are these two, so we create a bit of a bridge. So, where is that even? Where are we looking at? So here's Venice. I imagine if we were to look, Vienna would be somewhere in here. So this is kind of, looks to me to be core Austrian, modern day Austrian territory. So yeah, so I want to try to move my Gothic horde and see if I can't create a Gothic kingdom in the Alps that will somehow, maybe I'll try to ally Rome to survive. I'm not very experienced with Imperator. I don't know how any of this works. So the idea is to just try to survive in the Alps and make it through to CK3, where I know I could blob if I want to. So I'll probably have to find a way to not blob in CK3 and still have it be fun. But we'll worry about that when we get to it. Okay, so what I don't really know how I'm going to do, so I've got, there's so many provinces here. Most of them are not primary culture Gothic, except for, I know this is close, but I can uproot these. I could uproot all my pops in Rugia pretty easily and send them down here. I don't really know if I should go directly and attack Bohemia. It looks like it might be a good time to, because they've got their own revolt going on. But if I was to uproot all of my pops in this province, that would be fine. The problem is my other provinces are majority culture Vandalic for the most part, if it's here or here. These two provinces, so Helveconia and Syria, are mostly Vandalic. I think so is Elysia. Yeah, mostly Vandalic. And then I get down here and I start getting Bastarne majorities. They're all, mostly Germanic cultures. So I'm mostly Germanic cultures if I look at it. I've got a few Astians probably in this zone mostly. But they're not majority Chthonic, and I've currently got Vandalic and Urmionic integrated. So I can colonize from provinces here. If I have 8 pops in a province here, there's a good chance that they'll be mostly an integrated culture. But the that doesn't help me with raising pops as migration or migratory hordes or tribes or war bands or whatever they call them. So let's see if we can do population map mode. Like, for example, I've got Laudicum here with 7 pops. I can't do this because dominant culture is not Chthonic. And whereas if I go to, let's say, Rugia, I can, because start migration. Yeah. So I'm not really sure what the right thing to do here is. I mean, maybe if I post this, I can get some feedback from you guys before I go on, but I'm not sure if the best move is to migrate some, like, focus on the pops I've got in Rugia, the Chthonic pops I've got in Rugia, migrate here, but settle them as majorities, and then wait for stability to tick back up and keep moving them, and then follow with the rest later. Gosh, I really don't know. Or if I go ahead and if I just declare war, raise some pops as migratory tribes, declare war, use my levies to beat the Boe. I can even call in actually have some allies. I think Simonia is one of my allies. I think I forget who the other one is, but anyway, I've got 2 allies. That's my diplomacy. So I have Neuthonia and Simonia. Neuthonia is right here. So I do have allies. I could raise enough levies that I could probably, even after evacuating Rugia and my 1 holding in Farodenia, I could beat the Boe and then settle some pops in there. I'm not really sure how that works. Yeah. So yeah. Decision is decision. Before wrapping this episode up, I wanted to do a little state of the Paradox world overview, a little summary of what's going on. I just paused it as this massive revolt splintered Guthonia into a bunch of remnant patches. So the majority of Guthonia is now in revolt. I'm going to have to deal with that. Fortunately, I have the income cash to pay for some mercenaries, so they'll help me. I can call it Guthonia to help, but they haven't done much to expand. And I wanted to, before we look at more into what I'm going to do about that, I wanted to look at this mission tree that we're doing now. So, oh, it disappeared. Interesting. Well, that's not ideal. Maybe it'll come back. So maybe we'll talk about the mission tree later. But the mission tree hadn't popped up for me to kind of start building cities in this land of Bohemia in here. And I had started actually doing some of the missions, so I'm not sure why it's disappeared on me. It's a little bit concerning. Maybe because I don't currently control Bohemia because of this revolt. That actually makes sense. So that's a bit of an issue. That puts a wrench in my works. One of the things that I did, I got tired of trying to convert all of my pops to twisted Gothonians in here. I moved most of my populations out of at least these northern areas, Baltic, that I had previously controlled. But then once I had moved the majority of my pops and colonized as much of this area as I kind of wanted to in here, I released a few client nations. I was limited in how many client nations I could have because of my diplomatics. There's a diplomatic limit based on the size of your nation. So I fully released some of these, but then I kept the two largest ones, Sudanoia, which is a Astian nation, and Syria, which is also twisting Astian. But I feel like this actually had a different version, I think, a Germanic version of some sort. Anyway, those two should still be my client states. So I still have my alliances. I have an alliance with Armorica. I forgot about that. So I've made an alliance with this northern Gaulish tribe. I still have my alliance with Newsonia, and I have subjects. So Corotan. Which one's Corotan? Oh, so I lied. So Corotan is actually this one here, and this one here. And so I have these two subject states. So hopefully they'll help me out in this revolt as well. And so I released them as client states because I couldn't be bothered to keep trying to do the whole migration chain of migrating pops into a territory, hoping that I could get enough Goths in there to make them the majority, and then using stability to migrate them into another territory and chain. I was trying to do a chain reaction, and it worked for a while, but it was just getting exhausting when territories left here have very low population sizes. So I figured it wasn't worth continuing to do. We were for a while allied with Rome, but then I backed out of a call to arms with them. So now we have this big scary neighbor of Rome that I'm not an ally with, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Their opinion of us is still not very high. You can see I dishonored the alliance. And I've been trying to improve relations, and I will continue to try to improve relations, but they have an issue with aggressive expansion too. So anyway, they don't love us anymore, and that could be a problem. They're kind of scary. What's going on elsewhere? So let's look over the map quickly. Maybe we didn't look very closely at this before, so it's kind of hard for me to keep track of the change. I know Moria was a much bigger nation. It looks like it's been split into a few. So anyway, India's a really long way away from us. I'm not sure we need to worry about it. Parthia, looking strong. Now back to Parthian culture. culture. The leader was Daihai, or I don't know how you pronounce it, one of those kind of steppe cultures for a while. And Alani is there, so where's everybody? Daihai, I don't know how you pronounce it. It doesn't seem like there's any left. Interesting. Let's see if we do the culture map. Let's see if we culture map. Yeah, these guys. So, yeah, they had taken over all of Parthia. I don't know what happened since then. Alright, if we go back to continue heading west, the Proto-Slavic groups out here have split again. And then a lot of Pannonia has actually been colonized by different various people. So here's a Germanic Ionian colony in Pannonia. A lot of these areas were colonizable when I started the game. Viscian colony here. Oh, cultures are moving around, creating new nations. And in the west, there's a lot of consolidation. So Gaul or France is now mostly in control of two Gallic tribes. This is a good Gallic culture group tribe. As is this one. Yep. And Treveria was quite a bit bigger. I think Armorica took a lot of their terrain. They are pretty well ensconced in what looks like kind of parts of Switzerland here, and a disjunct little area of southwestern Germany here. Or I should just say western Germany. I guess that's the Rhine River, so whatever. Yeah, that's not Rhine. My German geography is not very good, so let's figure that out. And the Britanni, I guess, probably, or the Dumnonians, the Dumnonians, which is another Celtic group in England, modern day Great British Isles, have taken most of southern Britain. Yeah, so a lot of consolidation. Carthage is blobbing a bit. Rome is blobbing a bit. Rome looks scary. Rome has a certain number of pops. It doesn't look huge on the map, but it has 5,686 pops, which is compared to Carthage has, which looks big on the map too, but a lot of those are desert areas. Oh, it has big pops too. Where is it? For example, yeah, not looking good. Mind you, I'll get some of those back to defeat this revolt. One of the things, so as a tribal nation, it seems like one of the things I didn't realize is that when your leader dies, and the next clan leader is not necessarily, or the next tribal leader is not necessarily from the same clan. So we've been rotating between these clans in terms of leadership. Let's see, who is it right now? I'm not sure. Got Frodijaz is, or Frodijaz, I'm not sure what it would be, is our current tribal leader. I guess when the game ends, we will see what clan is in charge, and we will use that name as the name for our starting dynasty in CK3, which will be exciting. It could be Sigging, Froding, Galing, Burning. I hope it's either Burning or Sigging. Anyway, we'll see. Who cares? It'll be what it'll be. And yeah, so this timeline, this game starts at about 400 BC, right? And we're now at 191 BC. And that means that we still have we've done over 200 years, but we still have almost 700 years, or around 700 years to go. So there's still a lot to play. I'm just hoping that we can somehow survive here as neighbors of Rome and not succumb to this revolt. And yeah, please join me next time. Hopefully next time I'll have hopefully put down this revolt. We can look at our mission tree again. I think that's going to be the focus, is to follow the mission tree, try to develop this area, and get to the point